You are trapped on a tiny, waterless spit of dead coral in the middle of the ocean. The Australian sun is baking you alive. But the thirst isn't what terrifies you. What terrifies you is the man in the rotting red velvet coat, smiling as his death squad sharpens their blades. The shipwreck survivors thought they had been saved when they reached the island. Instead, they washed ashore into the waiting arms of a psychopathic cult leader who decided exactly who was allowed to breathe. Weeks earlier, the pride of the Dutch East India Company smashed blindly into an uncharted reef. 300 terrified men, women, and children abandoned the sinking wreck, washing up on a barren chain of islands with almost no food and no water. Knowing they would all die of thirst, the ship's commander took the only viable boat and rowed away to find help, leaving the survivors behind. Nature created a vacuum of power, and a monster stepped in to fill it. Jeronimus Cornelisz was a bankrupt heretic who had already been planning a mutiny. Realizing that rescue meant he would be hanged for his crimes, he seized the washed-up weapons, dressed his loyalists in stolen silks, and declared himself the absolute ruler of the reef. To survive, he realized he had to reduce the island's population. He forced his inner circle to take a blood oath. Anyone who wasn't useful, anyone who posed a threat, or anyone who simply ate too much food was marked for death. Cornelisz hoarded all the food and water, using dehydration as a weapon of absolute control. The weak were starved out. But for those who refused to die quietly, he sent his death squads into the dark. Over the next 2 months, the mutineers systematically slaughtered over 110 men, women, and children. The island became a macabre slaughterhouse, ruled by men who treated murder as a daily chore. But the marooned god's reign had an expiration date. After months of terror, the Dutch rescue ship finally appeared on the horizon. Cornelisz knew that if the commander learned the truth, the mutineers would hang. It became a literal race for salvation. A small group of loyalist survivors managed to build a raft and rowed desperately toward the rescue ship, racing Cornelisz's assassins across the open water to tell the commander the truth. The loyalists won the race. When the mutineers arrived at the rescue ship, intending to hijack it, they looked up to find an entire line of Dutch Marines aiming loaded muskets directly at their heads. The cult was shattered in an instant. Cornelisz was dragged aboard in chains, stripped of his stolen velvet, and forced to answer for the apocalypse he orchestrated on the reef. The Dutch East India Company dispensed swift, brutal justice. Cornelisz and his inner circle had both of their hands chopped off. Before being hanged on the very island where they had played God, the survivors were finally taken home, but the dead were left behind. To this day, the white sands of the Abrahos Islands are still packed with the bleached bones of the victims. A permanent stain on the edge of the world, the ocean eventually swallows all sins. But the terror of the Batavia proves that the most dangerous monsters on the sea never lived in the water.